all you lovely marketing people. This is Mike Doyle, and welcome to the Drive80.com unnamed podcast, where the point of this show is to answer the question, how do you market your video or videos? In this episode, I talked to Evan Abrams, who has a popular YouTube channel where he's spreading the knowledge butter over toast, as he says, about Adobe After Effects. I am really excited about this episode because I've been following Evan for a few years. His YouTube channel has got me out of a lot of jams in After Effects, and when I'm in the middle of a project and I'm stuck, I go right to his page to see if he's already addressed how to do that one thing. And then on the days where I'm not working in After Effects, I'll go to his page just to learn something random that I could probably, it could help me benefit my skills when I'm animating a project. Why did I choose Evan for this episode, since he's basically someone who talks about After Effects? It's because he's using YouTube as a way to make passive income and bring in new clients. Now, typically I try to keep the episodes to about 30 minutes or like a little bit over 30 minutes, but this one went over an hour because it was just a very informative conversation. So I recommend listening to this one with a pen and paper so you don't miss out. He just has a lot of really good things about that whole YouTube world. Some of the topics we touch on are why you should farm your YouTube statistics for nuggets on info to see what is really working. Addressing frustrated YouTube comments can flip the conversation to positive. Segmentation of content is important to tell the audience what they are getting themselves into. If you ever get an email from YouTube to go network with other YouTube plaque owners, you should definitely go. He breaks down how to actually make money on YouTube. And he also talks about why YouTube is not the best place to be for passive income unless you are constantly putting out content. Now, before we begin, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you're listening on YouTube, please comment below with any questions. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone who you think will get some marketing value out of it. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show because you do a lot of marketing with video and you've had some success, please give me an email at mike@drive80.com because I would love to have you on the show and just pick your brain. This episode is brought to you by Sendlift.com. Sendlift takes out the hassle of writing handwritten cards for your clients or leads and just does it for you. So you just log in, you upload a spreadsheet, and voila! Handwritten cards will be sent to prospects and clients. You can check it out. You actually get a discount. I was talking to Nick the other day, and he was pretty stoked that I keep mentioning him for free in all these episodes. So he gave me kind of a little landing page to give any of my listeners a discount. So check out sendlift.com/drive80, and you'll see what I mean. Here we go. Evan Abrams. Let's dive in. Evan Abrams, thank you for being here. Please let the world, or the three people listening to this, a little bit about who you are and why you're great.
Okay, well, thank you so much. A motion graphic designer by trade, but if you're listening to this, you might know me from the YouTube channel EC Abrams, where I try to teach other people about motion graphics and After Effects and motion design, and try to spread a bit of the knowledge butter over the toast of everybody out there. I've been, at the time of recording, I've been making motion graphics for over a decade now, which is pretty great for someone of my incredible youth. And just remember, if you're listening to this podcast, Evan is still young and attractive even today. So, yeah, that's the gist of it. If people want to know a lot of top-level crap about design, give me a call. So,
great. So basically, Evan, when you started doing these, because before this, you were a freelance motion.
I like to say motion designer. That's what I put on the card. Yeah, so actually back at that time, motion design might have been not a thing people said often. Like, for example, I don't even think there were degrees in college you could sign up for, specifically in motion design. There are now, because the world has moved ahead, but it would be, oh, you're taking graphic design, here's one course on motion graphics. Oh, you're in here for video, okay, here's one course, here's 3 credits about motion graphics. So back in those days, wasn't that big, but I was always fascinated with it because I'm a horrible filmmaker and photographer, and I demand control over the frame and what's happening. So it's the perfect thing for a control obsessed narcissist like myself. So it's ideal. But yeah, about the YouTube stuff, that was born out of an attempt. Me and some friends were in trying to do sketch comedy, trying to be funny people, and I thought, you know what? As part of a lot of people's YouTube strategies, they put up content, then they put up how we made the content. So there's two streams of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the second one. I'm going to show how we made some of our stuff. And it turned out showing people how to do things was way more popular than trying to make people laugh. People come in, they're drawn by the utility of what I'm actually talking about, and the jokes are a kind of tax that I extract from them. They're forced to listen to the jokes if they want to get that sweet, sweet information. So it's, I think of it as a stealing of their time to have these jokes, which is why they're sometimes intentionally horrible, is where that comes from. So it's that's sort of the genesis of it, and from there, the community was just so receptive and really into what was actually happening, and people seemed to get a lot of utility out of the channel. And I thought, well, this is something people like, because when I started out, there wasn't a YouTube at the time, because that was a while ago.
Oh wow!
The only place you could learn is by cracking open the Krish design and enjoy that big book, or you could open the help manual that comes with Adobe CS3 and really just enjoy that help menu in book form. It's all there for you. The internet at the time would have been 28K modems. So if you want to watch a video of someone do it, you can wait all day and then watch 5 minutes. So yeah, it was really, I had to learn the hard way. But a lot of other people now, you can just, well, how do I do XYZ? Oh, it's here on the internet. It's right here waiting for me. But despite that, a lot of the content out there is not great. I don't want to poop on everybody, but a lot of it is bad. A lot of it is showing a recipe, which I hate. What do
you mean by that?
So when I say a recipe, let me say that, let's use a classic example. How to put lightsabers in video, right? Great thing to do. Everybody does it. It's the first thing you do. And the recipe is make white solids, track to points, this kind of thing. But a recipe will tell you how to make one type of cookie. A recipe will tell you how to make this only. But what I want to do is take it a step further and help people solve the problem. Because the problem is, I got footage, I want to put a lightsaber on it. The problem isn't, I have a man swinging left to right across the frame and the camera is locked off. That's not the problem you're confronted with. So I want to sort of tell people, yes, how do we get to the meat and potatoes? How do I do the thing I need to do today? But also, what does that mean? You know, using the thing help me to understand the thing. It would be like teaching someone how to change the oil in their car without telling them, why does your car need oil? Or, you know, why is it important that that seal not be broken and stuff like that? So the idea is to have an extra layer of utility so that people can sort of solve their own problems after they've made the one specific cookie, is the idea. In the cookie analogy, chocolate chips yummy, but I want a thinner cookie, I want a fluffier cookie, I got to make for 100 people and not 10 people. So if you understand some of the fundamentals, you're getting more out of it. And then people don't have to come back to the channel, I guess. But they do come back because, and this is one of the points that we're going to get to later about actual content, is the content has to be good. If you want to have a successful channel, it has to mean something to the audience. And it has to mean something beyond just the thing they extract from it.
So let's talk about that. So basically, you do your first, you are doing funny videos with your friends, and then you started thinking, let me show people how we're doing this. And just real quick, so I'm guessing you saw engagement, views went up, something happened that went, oh wait, I'm on the right path here with this.
So the big thing was traffic was there. When you create content, people got to find that content. Doesn't matter what your content is. Maybe it's you doing stand-up. Maybe it's you cooking food. Maybe it's videos of your cats wearing hats. No matter what the thing is, no matter what the content is, another human has to come to it. Or, as part of that strategy, think about how does someone discover the thing I've made?
Yeah.
Now, in my case, that's very simple. In the case of how-to content, because I'm providing an answer to a question, most of my traffic, or humans, or audience, come from search. They are actually searching for a thing. They have a need, they've identified it, they put it into words, they put those words into Google, they come to me. And they come to me because the content has certain meta stuff about it, but it's also very highly ranked in terms of audience retention and stuff. So all those numbers that indicate people are empirically into this tell algorithms, render this higher, this should float to the top, because people who search for the things related to this are enjoying this. So in a search-based thing, which how-to benefits greatly from, and I'm putting how-to in quotes, this is help kind of content. We are helping with something. So now what that might mean for other people, not everyone is teaching how to use After Effects, right? But if you are, let's say I'm a furniture maker, or I am a steel company, or I am a car, I sell cars, or I repair cars or something. The thing you do can be framed in a way that people want to know about it. Why would someone, if you make furniture, what do people want to know? Well, how do you make furniture? How do I maintain furniture? How do I do X, Y, Z with these things? So that is a thing with real utility to an audience that you can put up there and they will find it and people will engage with it. But finding it isn't the only thing. We found out very early that in order to get people to find comedy videos, you're going into a market that is saturated with stupid, funny things. Everyone is putting up content that provides entertainment. Entertainment is a hard place to play in. And it's hard for a lot of reasons. The first is the density of people, and the second is that it can be very polarizing. You kind of want to have an audience you can push to it, or that you can push your content upon an audience, or you can engage in a community where that is going to be a form of dialogue or currency. So if you look at some of the highest grossing in terms of numbers here, audiences, we're looking at the video game space. That's where content is exploding.
Yeah.
Why are 5 million people watching someone play Minecraft? What a quandary, right? But I can only get 100 people to see me say this joke about what's the deal with, I guess, macaroni or being single with 12 cats or any of these things. These are all things that need to revolve around a community. So when we talk about Minecraft, Minecraft is a community. It's something that people are experiencing together. And it's something that people want to see other people's experiences of. So that's where the Venn diagram crosses over something a large audience is doing and experiencing with, here's I'm going to jump in there. Let me jump in that Venn diagram with you. Here's my stuff. We overlap. And that's how communities are formed. And then once people show up, you got to engage them. Engagement is the big buzzword. That is the thing that videos talk about. How long are people on the video? Are they falling off? Are they commenting? Do they have things to say? Do they share it with their friends? Is this part of their life? These are all things that are important with any video product, with any social strategy, with anything that you want to enjoy doing in this space. Because if you're yelling into a void, that's for you and you alone, is the sort of thing.
That's a great way to say that. I love that, yelling into a void. That's what it feels like when you're putting videos out there and you have 3 views. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, and we said that really early on, 10 years ago, we were talking about shouting into the void all the time. There was the idea of, I have a thing that's super important. This is everything from drawing incredible political cartoons that are never published. It is drawing, portraits of your family that don't hang in art galleries. Sometimes art is made by the artist, but not for the public. And though YouTube is a place where you can throw things up, no one has to watch it, and it's not necessarily going to be attended to. So this idea that I want to put stuff up that people will come to, the question you have to ask yourself is why?
Yeah.
Why would they come to this?
Well, how did you find that? Like, so, I mean, you found it through, you noticed engagement. Then did you turn that into, okay, now I'm methodically going to go in this direction, or were you...
There's some things that folks don't talk about a lot, and it is that there is an amount of mystery and unknown sometimes. And you have to look at your statistics, and you have to farm them for nuggets of information.
But you literally, though, but you didn't just start busting out videos and go, oh, this is cool. You literally started really dissecting them at that point.
You have to put up a bulk of stuff before you can have data, is the trouble. So it started with, here's some things that I think are cool, and putting them up. People are watching it. I'm going to put up some more things. What's that like? Okay. And then let's say 25 videos later, I can look at them and I can say, these ones people like, these ones people do not like. What do people like? What do the people who are coming to me, what do they like? What are they telling me? Which of the 25 is best? Okay, this one is. Well, these I could say these are the top 5. Say these are the top 5. Is there something common about all of them? Is there something is there a thread that unifies these? Are there attributes about them that are perhaps more attractive or more positive for people?
What did you see in the beginning? What did you see in the beginning when out of those 25 videos? What kind of stuck out to you?
What stuck out is you get to the stuff fast. That is one of the big things, is that the quick hook is important. Most of them were the shorter ones. The ones that are shorter, people gravitate towards. The idea that if something, at the time we were looking at, some of the tutorials would run half an hour, some would be 15 minutes, some would be 8 minutes. The shorter ones were invariably more popular than the long ones. Now there are many. You can look at your data and try to work backwards, or you can then go to the research and say, what are other people saying? Why would someone like an 8-minute thing rather than a half an hour thing? Well, because they've only got 8 minutes. Attention spans are declining, all this stuff.
Do you find that that's because because I know in doing After Effects, if I'm stuck, I Google real quick, how do I do this really quickly? And when I get into the video and they start talking about, hey, welcome, I'm like, dude, just fucking get to it already.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a lot of mindset? When people are watching their videos, it's not like the end of the day, they want to learn some stuff. Like, do you think majority of your viewers are in the moment? I need this right now, give it to me.
So that's tough to say. There are certainly a lot of folks who are in that camp. I know those are the people because they give me frustrated comments. They let me know. They say, stop telling me about, get the theory out of here. Just give me what I want. And
that's probably me. Like, fucking get to it.
On the other hand, yeah, exactly. I need a real solution. And yes, but there's also another group. There's sort of two groups of people. The people who are there for, you could say, a continuing education kind of thing, where it's Sunday. I'm going to luxuriate on a Sunday. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to learn a new technique today. I got time, so they could come in and check that out. But there are definitely folks who are there, and I can tell by a graph. They have beautiful graphs in YouTube, and I recommend become very familiar with your analytical graphs. You can look at it, and you can see which part of the video is the most popular, and when do people leave. And I know the people who are there just for one thing, because as soon as that one thing happens, the graph goes down, and they got it, they're out. I'm gone. So it's when they pull the ripcord, and it's usually about 60% of the way through when the trick or the reveal or the thing they were stuck on has been beaten. They're like, oh, that's the part I was missing. I'm gone. So then they are peacing out. That means, from a video creation standpoint, that tells me a few things. One, if I have a call to the action at the end of my video, a lot of people are not hearing it. And it's telling me that, these people got what they wanted because they stuck around for a part that was essential. So I can pencil that down as a success because I believe these people have been really helped. If I saw people were falling off 30 seconds in that big decline, then the video is not what they wanted to watch. So that's another thing in the how-to space.
Do you
And
carve? I'm sorry, go on.
In the how-to space, I've noticed that people finding things is hard, especially in a niche area like motion graphics. I might say how to automate advanced particle grids. That might be a title of a video. Someone might search, I need to automate some advanced particle grids, but that to them means something different than it means to me. And so when they watch the video, they watch the intro where I tell them very quickly, this is what's going to happen in the video, and now we're ready to do it. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. Boop. So a succinct intro helps people decide binary, I want to watch this, I don't want to watch this. And it's very important to, if you're in the how-to space anyway, to really lay out what exactly are we going to get to. Because if someone, that's when you get someone sticking around, like, well, maybe it's getting back to what I want, and then they're 5 minutes in, and like, this is not what I wanted, and then now you're going to hear about it. So that's you don't lull people along. Be upfront. We're going to do this. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to cover A, B, C. Stick around. Boom. If you don't want to learn A, B, C, let me know, and I'll make a different video about it.
Do you engage with the like when you find that people are giving these snarky comments? Have you found that when they stick around for more videos and they're not trolling, because I think there's a breakdown. There's your diehard fans who can be always positive. There's your diehard fans who are positive, and then sometimes they just like, dude, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
There's people come in that are just like, I just need this done. I think this is more for, but there's I need this. This is great. Hey man, thanks. And there's people who are like, this was fucking shit, and and then they're not. But they're like, obviously there's trollers who just start making really racist comments out of nowhere and just doesn't make any sense. But the ones
doesn't happen a lot to me, but
see,
yeah.
I think that in videos like yours that wouldn't, because you're not declaring like a political statement. You're just like, dude, I'm just showing you how to do this shit. You're not paying me. Get in. But when people are making those comments, do you engage with them and say, okay, cool, what would you want to see? And then their attitude changes and they're more positive, or
oh yeah,
and then they come back and they start giving you more positive comments on the rest of the videos because you're addressing their issue?
Yeah, a lot of the time people feel alienated and lost. Now, the other thing is that I can empathize with a frustrated creative more than anyone else can.
Yeah.
In my early days, I cursed my stupid hands for being unable to make the beautiful things in my mind. That is the taste to technique gap that Ira Glass talks about, and where it's so beautiful in your mind, you lack the skills to make it. Life is unfair.
Yeah.
And then compound that with, here's an expert who's supposed to be helping me. Why can he not help me? And, I try to read into everything with empathy, because some people say things like, this doesn't work, and if they're saying this doesn't work, I can assure you, you're watching me do it live on a video. You can watch it work.
Yeah.
I just say to them, I understand things are rough. Tell me where you're stuck. I want to help you through, and a lot of the times they come back and they say, well, I'm stuck at this point. And I say, well, this is what you're missing. A lot of people miss this. You're not alone. Other people on this channel have had the same problem, and, it's frustrating for all of us. And a lot of those people do turn it around, that they solve it. They feel great. They get that rush of, dopamine into that part of the brain after you've solved a problem, and like, yes,
Yeah.
now I'm into this. So converting someone who is against your content into someone who's for it can be good, but not everyone can be converted, and not everyone should be engaged is another thing. Sometimes you are simply feeding a ball of negativity, and it just comes from experience to recognize who is who and what their problem might actually be. And And with some people, they're simply having a bad day. And there have been some instances where I say to people, if this video is the worst thing happening to you today, you have a really great life. You got to be thankful for that. So, because honestly, if you're angry at 5 minutes of watching a video, if it causes you frustration and anger, that's not about me.
Yeah.
That's not about me. That's not about the video. And nothing I've done or nothing the video's done and nothing in the content choices or the artistic ideas, it's not an attack on me. It's an attack on a world that someone is fundamentally at odds with.
Oh yeah, it's
Simply
100%. I
part
mean,
of that.
that is it. I even notice it with myself when I start getting
And that's
frustrated.
sort of,
If I get frustrated at people, I start just going, all right, what is it about my day that's making me so mad at this poor guy or girl, whatever they're showing me.
yeah. And the real trouble is that, let's say you make content that's more entertainment focused, or if you're into content that is more opinion based, or even if you are a company and you're making videos about your product, people's negative reactions are important to you. They're a type of data that can teach you about the content or your product or your brand image or these things. Imagine if I'm an airline and I'm putting out videos about what kind of carry-on you can bring, right? That's a sort of content that a company might put out. And you're explaining, how do you use my service? And that kind of content, if someone is saying negative things like, your carry-on policy is a piece of crap, and why don't you just shove cats in my luggage, and this person's therapy parrot pecked me. These are all pieces of data that a company needs to look at, identify, codify, put it into a giant spreadsheet so you can see 100 out of so many people have these feelings about this content. What does that mean? So it's going to mean different things to different people. And if you're in an entertainment sector, as rough as it is to say this, back when networks ruled television and entertainment, they would look at, what do audiences say? How do we make content that will resonate with them stronger? And I'm not saying compromise artistic visions and all this stuff, but if you ever feel a frustration about why aren't people engaging with my content, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
What are you presenting them? Are you simply narrowcasting? And that is definitely something to consider, because I don't know, I make After Effects videos. I'm only talking to nerds who love After Effects.
Yeah.
So I have identified a niche and I am going at it. So it helps to identify niches.
I'm looking at because you are super niche down. I think that's what helps you, and you do add this extra element that a lot of YouTubers I don't think they do, because a lot of YouTubers out there are just talking some stupid shit about their life. And they're like, hey, today I went into Whole Foods and I bought some food, and it's like wah, wah,
Yep.
all this crap. And it's giving you more of a, I'm just not going to I don't have to think about this right now. So I'm just mindlessly watching. But with you, there's a specific reason. So for me as a viewer, because I am a fan of your stuff, I look at it in two ways. One, where I'm in the crunch and I need to figure out how to do something. So I'll first go to your page and see if you've done a video about it, and then I'll watch it. But I will fast forward to the point I'm like, dude, just fucking get to it. There's other points where I try to do an early morning. First thing I do, I get to my office space, and I want to just give myself a little educated piece and keep my craft up about After Effects. So I'll pop on one of your videos and watch it all the way through, because then I want to learn. So that's the point where I'm open to watching you talk about the video. I just you speaking on the screen because I'm not in a rush, and then I'm watching all the way through, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool, and I'm always blown away because I'm like, god damn, that's how you do it. So
that's speaking to, within one person, they are two types of audience.
Oh yeah.
Right? Oh yeah. Now, do you know Mikey Borup?
No.
Oh well, he and I were hanging out at Adobe one day. Just name dropping all over the place.
Let me pick that up for you.
he makes wonderful tutorials as well, and we were talking about how do you structure content and all this stuff. And he said to me, I experimented around with tutorials that only last 5 minutes, 5-minute quick tip stuff. And that is because he identified that two segment of people. You know, I'm here to luxuriate in this lesson, and I'm here to solve an immediate problem. So he just looked at what are the top problems, bam, 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 and now 5 minutes dedicated to each, bam, 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 and there you go.
Do you
So
ever,
if people
did you ever
are,
think about making playlists that are based on
mm,
that for you? So say
absolutely.
quick vids, short vids.
Yeah, so the segmentation of content is really important. I'll be the first to admit that I have not applied as much to my channel as I need to be. So, for example, all the content on the channel should be for ease of digestion, broken into explaining in the title or very early on how hard is this to do.
Hmm.
Is this for a beginner? Is this for an intermediate? Is this for an advanced person? What level am I talking to? So that the audience can know as soon as they look at it, I'm a beginner. This is for me. I'm going to love it. Or it's going to set up the expectation of the audience. And when we're talking about expectations, this is when we get into those comments where people say, this is too slow, this is too fast, this is too complicated, this is too simple. If you can tell people really early what it is, who it's for, people will know this is for me, I'm loving it, give me more of this stuff, this is just for me. And that's because everyone believes it's just for them. It's not this is how people be, that this stuff shows up at our request on demand. It is for you, you know, like, and when you find something and you watch it, this is for me. Oh, I don't like it. This is the worst. You know, how dare you make this for me? Because it is not what I wanted. But if you know people want something quick, people want something, a deep dive, label it as such. Be upfront about it. Be categorically about it, and create things in these series and playlists.
I think even that just helps you know. I mean, that's specifically knowing your audience. With you,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like you have an understanding. Like you have it very figured out with this. Like I believe you know your audience. You know what they're looking for. I think there's some small tweaks you are
Oh
talking
yeah.
about you could possibly do to your page. Like I think that if you did a playlist that's said to people, here are the long videos, here are the short videos, um, and you know that is telling them what they're getting themselves into before they hit play. And
Mm-hmm.
you're also very smart with how you set up your YouTube page, because on that level you've got the Adobe. I mean, even though it looks like more of the, no, it is the After Effects. Like you repurpose the After Effects logo,
I
so that
did. Yeah.
catches someone's eye. What does the C stand for, by the way, real quick?
Stands for Charles.
Charles, Evan
My
Charles.
name.
All right. Yeah, I figured that. I was thinking, what's your middle name? Um, but you have a header. It explains really quickly quality After Effects tutorials and lessons.
Yep.
You have your icons. You have it set up, and I was looking through this as we're talking, and I'm going through the progression because I love going through Instagram accounts and YouTube pages back to years prior and seeing where they started and how they progressed. And you can tell at the one point where they saw that, oh, this is the best way to go, they'll replicate that from that
Mm-hmm.
point on, because you'll see how many views they got, and it tells a story. So with you going all the way back. I mean, you've got screenshots of, let's see here. I mean, the first one you've got from 6 years ago, moving text kinetic typography tutorial part 2. There's
Yep.
nothing in there that says After Effects except for the screenshot of the After Effects interface. But
Mm-hmm.
as
A
you're,
truly terrible thumbnail.
yeah, but I mean, that's what I mean. We didn't really know this stuff 6 years ago, but now you realize, and then you keep going through, and you have a lot of interface screenshots. You have screenshots of you, and then it suddenly progresses around 4 years. You've got, orientation and rotation. So you've got what the video is talking about on the icon right there. So if it catches their eye in the right, they know, oh, this is going to tell me this. And then as you keep going up, then all of a sudden you start seeing you're adding Adobe After Effects tutorial to the title.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there was a couple where, no, yeah, you actually leave the logo off. But I think between adding that to the title and then adding some kind of cool imagery behind it with the name of what's happening, like you've got repeater, you've got the wiggly selector. If you're in After Effects in that community like you spoke about, you know exactly what those keywords are. So you know
Mm-hmm.
your audience. That's the best thing about. That's why I think this is so
Yeah.
effective.
And there are two things that people need to do if they want to really get into what we would say content marketing, or if we want to say if you want to get into content creation, know what you're about, know who it's for.
Yep.
And those are the two categories of things you must know first. Throw away, you don't need to know about SEO stuff. You need to know who you want to watch. You need to know who you are and what you're about. When it comes to thumbnails, though, I will say that even what has been described as best practices for thumbnails has changed over the years. So for folks who are silver button plaque owning YouTube channels like myself,
Wait, what's that mean?
Oh, well,
Is that a thing?
yeah, I have a plaque that says congratulations on 100,000 subscribers.
No shit. I didn't know that.
So YouTube sends you a button, and the button, they've got silver buttons, they've got gold buttons. Gold buttons are for 1 million. We'll get there one day. We just passed 200,000, so we are 2/10 of the way to the million. So gold button coming my way soon, I'm sure.
But that also comes along with, I'm guessing, there's a certain point where a check comes along with that too.
Always, yeah.
We could dive into that later on too, but
yeah, but the plaque itself symbolizes your achievement in creating an audience, creating a community that have reached a certain milestone. And that's the point at which YouTube sort of starts emailing you saying, hey, we got a workshop. You want to come check this out? Or, hey, we got this thing going on in Toronto. You want to come around, meet some people, network? What do you think, Mr. Plaque owner?
Interesting.
You're a plaquesman. This one's for you. And if anyone receives one of those emails, go to these things. It is a chance like none other to interface with the people who make YouTube and make it work. They have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great workshops to teach people about not only the audience side, the content side, but also the business side. Because creating a channel that has an audience and has people coming to it is a separate set of skills to generating income from that person, those people, that audience. Those are two, they complement each other, they swirl around each other, they require certain attentions and certain skills that are unique and different from each other. And it's something that a lot of people, for example, vlog channels, might have an amazing personality, huge engagement, but when it comes to the actual business side of things, how do I turn that into a job? Well, it's more difficult. So yeah, I guess we could get into, that's a great segue into the actual income portion of how does a YouTube channel pay you?
Yeah.
It's a great spot to go. Generally, there's a few ways, broad categories. Big paintbrush strokes here. The first is through ad revenue. So you are a channel, you're probably earning some kind of small ad income from it. That is ads that show up on your video. You get a cut from Google. Enjoy. You might also join a multi-channel network, an MCN, and then your ad structure changes, but you're still deriving from views ad dollars.
What does that mean right there? Is that where someone is hosting a channel that you're a part of, so that's a collaboration of YouTube video content creators in one spot?
A multi-channel network?
Yeah.
A multi-channel network is essentially a way for companies to take ownership of a channel's ad space and to sell on their behalf, or to leverage different relationships on their behalf to increase their CPM, their how much money they're getting per 1,000 viewer. And what they do is they basically take 20%, 30%, whatever the percentage is you work out with the network, for the implied thing to say, network, I'm going to give you some of my ad dollars. You, for me, the trade-off is you're going to get 20%, say. You're going to promote my channel more. You're going to bring me brand deals. You're going to increase the value of each person coming to the channel. In exchange, here's 20%. So it's an advertising relationship. And we've kind of seen a swell and a reduction and amalgamation and the eating of each other like many tropical fish in that market. Um, there are a few big networks. I have never joined one myself, only because I come from a very dubious advertising space, um, from university and beyond that, makes me it makes me skeptical of many advertising relationships. Only because I have a high scrutiny for any kind of contractual deal, and people, if the answers are not forthcoming and as I expect, and exactly nuanced and showing high competence and high openness, then I wash my hands immediately,
Okay.
because I'm a very cautious person when signing over any kind of rights of anything. But that also comes from working in design, I think, because I'm sure a lot of folks are like, well, absolutely, I'd love to sign. Give me the check, cha-ching. You say 50% more, I'll take it. And they're like, yeah, definitely. Thanks for signing. Now here's the fine print about your who owns your content now
Yeah.
and what you've agreed to. So they're neither good nor bad, and I can't say whether they're right for some people or wrong for other people. You have to make that choice and always make an informed choice. And if you are approached by a multi-channel network, ask to see the contract, look at the contract, get a friend who's a lawyer,
Yeah.
make that
Sounds
happen.
like the music business basically.
It's all content.
Mm,
It's all content. It's all licensing.
it's all IP.
It's same. Yeah. So ad revenue is one way in which a YouTube channel brings you monies.
Okay.
Passive income, that's pretty passive. You put up content and then ads are rendered and money comes to you, and that's it. Merch is something that is very supported by the YouTube platform. And the idea is not necessarily here's a t shirt, here's a mouse pad with my logo on it. That is one level of merch. For me, though, it's digital downloads of the thing we're doing in the tutorials. That would be classified as a merch arrangement. For most tutorials, I put up the files such that oh, you saw us make that thing. If you want to download that thing, go to evanabrams.com, check it out. And I just put it up there for like pay what you want pricing.
Yeah, I've
So
seen that. You have like kind of a bid of. I think it starts at $1, right?
it starts at $0.
Starts at 0. Yeah, that's right. And like, did you find that? Have you ever tried it where you actually put up a price and then you compared it?
I probably never will unless the file we're making has some kind of um, excessive utility. Like if the purpose of the files is for people to learn.
Yeah,
You could download the file, or you could just watch the tutorial and build it in the amount of time it takes for you to watch it. So
I know.
for me, I've already given you the keys. If you want to have your own, it's right here. And I will say that though some people pay $0, some people pay $10. So
Damn.
people people value the thing, and by and large, they're valuing it higher than I had ever expected. And I'm very grateful that people are using it as a kind of tipping system
Yeah,
as well,
yeah,
where they show their appreciation in the way that supports the channel. And I'm not the only creator out there who says this, but if you want to support a channel, support it in the way that the channel asks you to. And so those funds go directly into offsetting my time so that I don't have to take on as many client projects and I can devote more time to making more content.
when you do that,
So
so in that sense too, I have so many questions that come up. This is so intriguing. Um, do you, in that time allotted to you, and we'll jump back into the revenue source because I do want to talk about affiliate links as well, like maybe with
mm,
Adobe where you can download. Do you, or maybe when people pay you to say their name in your video first? I mean, there's
okay.
other news, but let's say that time it's allotted, kind of jumping back to the community aspect of where we were speaking about when you are building an idea around a community, you're going to bring the people from there to watch your content. Do you ever do any extra work to find out more about the After Effects community outside of your channel?
I try to stay engaged in things. Like I'm trying to stay engaged on some forums on Reddit and stuff like that. Um, Not as much as I should, but the thing is that that's also just part of my life. That I am. Those are areas where I'm active generally, whether I was doing it for YouTube or not. And in that way, it's a beautiful synergy between something that is already part of my day to day, and it's all a bundle. Like it's all
Yeah.
pushing into each other. Trying to think. When I was pretty young, I used to teach Taekwondo. That's the Korean kicking punching thing. Um, and one of the students I taught mostly adults who were competing, and I worked with a guy there who, despite I was teaching him how to kick and punch people better, he taught me a lot of stuff about business. And he said, if there's something you enjoy doing, make it pay for itself.
Yeah.
He was a windsurfer and a yoga instructor, and he says, I love doing yoga. I love getting paid to do yoga. I'd be doing yoga anyway, but I'm getting paid to do it. I'd become great at it. I'd do it. A synergy between things that you would do and then I'm doing, because I'm them. They are me. We have the same crisis. I need to solve After Effects related problems. I need to solve motion design problems. I think of my audience is usually me 5 years ago. I just have to look into my own past and say, what was I struggling with? Oh, there it is. That's the solution. And to pass that on. I'm sure eventually that gap will close as my skills stagnate and I become old and thrown away for being unhip. But that's the sort of thing that new people are coming onto the channel all the time. The broadest base is the people who know the least. And they are who I was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, So it's, since we're all kind of on the similar journey, and say that, to explore the community is to explore myself, and to explore, that sounds really gross, but to just explore, the space that I want to be in. If I was putting up stand-up comedy, if I was putting up stand-up comedy sets on there, on the YouTubes, the community I would be engaged in would be other comedians. Yeah. I would be, sharing my work with them, commenting on their work. We would be pushing that stuff around. That's a community that supports and also makes fun of each other in a gentle ribbing sort of way.
Yeah.
But
you'd also be going to comedy. You'd also be going to comedy clubs on your downtime, because that's your craft, it's your passion. You'd be probably watching it on Netflix. You'd be telling jokes to people outside. So you are. I think you nailed it when you said you're living in that bubble, and it shows on your page, because that when I'm watching it, when I saw it, I was like, okay, here's a guy who does this for a living. He started teaching people about it, but he's also finding fun in making these videos. But then he started seeing, I can make some money with this on the side as well. And it's bringing in people to it works in kind of a, what's the word? It's like there's a synergy to it.
Symbiotic?
Yeah, because it's bringing in eyes. It's giving you, making you look, I think if anyone makes content, it makes them look bigger than they are. In a sense, not than they are, but it makes them a thought leader.
But the trick is to shoot yourself from lower. It makes you seem taller.
Exactly. Have the camera pointed up. Make sure you don't have the double chin. Yeah, but I mean, there is a lot to that where and then you have a ton of content. It's really good. You get to meet you personally. So I think for clients who want to work with you, that's a great thing, because they're like, hey, I saw this. You're pretty funny. I'd actually want to work with you, and you fucking know what you're doing.
Yeah. Now that's something. A lot of people come to me in the motion graphics space and they say, Evan, how do I get clients to work with me and stuff like that? The first step is always putting your work out there. People got to be able to see your work to know that it's good, that they want that work. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that any kind of creative field is a lot of talking with other humans. You've got to interact with another human. And if you're on a project that's worth $10,000, say, you know how much interaction you're going to have with humans and groups of humans and meeting with people. People got to like hanging out with you.
Yeah.
And that I'm not saying you got to be the popular kid in school, but you got to be competent, respectful, collaborative. You have to be able to work with others, and people got to know that working with you is not going to be bad.
Well, they also have to know as well, because when you're a technical person, people think of programmers and they think of them
hmm
as being introverts. They don't like to talk. They don't speak human. Um, and animators, I find that animators are a bit more edgy. They're kind of, we have that sick sense of humor. The ones that I've worked with or I've freelanced work out to, who I've just communicated with, I think we all have this, like, we'll look at Adult Swim and think it's amazing.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
we find that sick humor, that's a consistent, that's what kind of connects us across the board. There is that we love humor, but we also love to learn these new things. And creatively, we want to visualize the stuff that we're doing. There's a visual, like you said, dopamine boost that you get when we are finalizing something. I think
yeah.
to kind of, yeah,
Think about the kind of person who's willing to do the same thing for 16 hours a day, multiple days a week on one thing.
yeah.
Who is that person? Are they as normal as everyone else?
Yeah, like if you're
um,
willing to sit there for 5 hours to really detail 20 to 30 seconds, if that, of an animation,
yeah.
I mean, there's a different animal.
hmm But another thing that's interesting is that motion design is a lot about solving problems,
Yeah,
more so than animation is about creating characters and motion and emotion through movement. I have a cousin who's a traditional animator. My neighbor is a traditional animator. They look at what I do and they say, "Evan, you're not an animator. Get
oh, I
real.
hate
You couldn't
that.
you couldn't draw a person to save your life." And I tell them, "You're right. I'm not. I'm a designer. That's what I do." Is because my function is to solve a communication problem for somebody. Um, Whereas someone who's in the classical animation field, they are telling a story
Yeah,
usually. They're much more concerned with narrative, they're much more concerned with shape and style and composition, and I would say a reality of their craft. That motion design is almost fundamentally unreality or hyper reality. There's
yeah,
a lot of technical crossover between what we do. I do a lot of freehand stuff. I do a lot of frame by frame, pose to pose, classic stuff. We use similar techniques, but I didn't go to school for 2 years and work on a drafting table. It's because, I mean, there's several reasons that I didn't do that. One is that I'm unable to draw humans realistically, and the other is that kind of thing is not the most exciting for me.
you
The
know that
most exciting thing.
that's funny, man. I'm the same way. I can't draw. I can look at a comic book and to detail draw it. That's when I was little, but I can't out of my mind draw something to detail. But if I open up an Illustrator, I
Hmm.
can do it.
Well, it's a different way of fundamentally looking at shape, and this is more of the technical process side of things, but it's a different way of looking at the world. It's a fundamentally different mode of thinking. In the same way that a carpenter and a wood sculptor they use the same tools, hammer, chisel, nails. A framer is using those same tools to make something very different than someone who sculpts wood. They're doing the same thing, but they look at a piece of walnut and it's totally different.
Oh yeah.
So, um, to a lot of outside people, same, but to the people doing it, different. And
I think of it as
anyway,
well, though.
that's
I think of it. Yeah, we'll jump back into it, but I think of it the same thing as I have a complete respect for anyone who does traditional animation. I think
oh
on my
yeah,
end, I just like the fact that if a client comes to me and says, "Hey, we want to change this major thing," I can probably update. I can probably update the Illustrator file, and it'll change across the board. If I had to go back and change the character, that's frame by frame, man, and that's a
oh
bitch.
yeah, yeah. And I think for me, I have a high amount of jealousy for people in that field because they create things that are empirically beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And I create things that are empirically useful. When you look at a Lamborghini, people look at it and they say, "Oh, what a beautiful car." When people look at a Jeep, they say, "Oh, that's definitely a Jeep."
But
Thanks.
you can, you drive it through the mud, you're not mad. You drive a Lamborghini through the mud, you're like, God
Exactly. Yeah.
damn it, I gotta get a blind.
So different strokes for different folks, I'd
Yeah.
say. But not to stray too far from monies.
Yeah, so jump back into it too. So we talked about, so then we spoke about how you do, for you, there's the advertising route, there's the channel route, there is the adding a link in your description where someone goes to it and says, hey, you could download this for this. That's the merch route. But have you gone into a route where, like, for me, I tried doing a couple After Effects tutorials, and they're on my page, and I think if I kept going with it, and I really do want to go back into it because I also enjoy it as well, and I think there's a certain aspect that I enjoy and think it would help my business out. But I added it.
Well, I would say this, that when you do tutorials, when you teach things, it forces you to cement these concepts so vigorously in your own mind as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes these things are almost a meditative exercise to go through. And,
well, you also realize how much you overspeak. I'll be 15 minutes into it. I'm just trying to show the opacity aspect. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I gotta go back and do this again.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I throw away so many recordings during the day. I'm like, what am I talking about? It's the worst.
But at the same time, when you're bringing that audience, they might not have After Effects, they hopefully should, but having an affiliate link there that's attached to what you're doing. So I've got one where I set up an affiliate program with Adobe, and I put a link on my YouTube page. Hey, if you don't have it, you can go here to download them. It does. I can get a cut of money. And I think the second thing is I also established one with Rubber Hose, where I reached out to the guy, and I'm like, dude, do you white label this? He goes, no, but you can do an affiliate. So he created me a link through Gumroad, and I can post that somewhere. So if someone is going to download it, it's passive income that I'm missing out.
Yep.
However, I don't have the critical mass to get that to work. Someone like yourself, that's a way where people are utilizing the video to make money. They could go in that direction to get some extra cash.
Yeah, so that's certainly something to consider. I used to work in the affiliate space. That was my first job out of university. I don't advertise it a lot, but I used to work at a CPA firm, cost per acquisition. I was an account manager for 3 years. The reason I don't tarry often with affiliate links is because I've seen how the sausage gets made on the back end, and found it distasteful at times. Affiliate programs are dicey. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Go into it with your eyes open. If you're working on the programs you described are very simple and very beautiful. Gumroad is very simple. A person goes through, they pay. Pixel fires, you're golden. It's tracking things, and that's something of real utility to the audience. You're talking about the thing, you want the thing, they can go and they can convert on the thing. So that is probably the ideal scenario. Then all you have to do is create an engine that brings people to that convincing page. With the Adobe stuff, it's a little bit trickier because usually you're talking to an audience that already has the thing. And if they don't have the thing, they are already predisposed to, I don't want to say, you know what, pirate the thing is the next thing they'll do. Because if they don't have it already, they're working off the trial version, and then they're going to be upgrading, not necessarily through the link you provided. Because it is not a, what would you call it, guarded funnel. It is not the pixel isn't placed, why am I, anyway, the tracking isn't established by watching your video. The tracking is established when they choose to go from your video through the link you provided.
Right.
In terms of a tracking scenario, that's actually the worst for you, because, I saw a thing, I'm excited about the thing, close. The next day, you know what? I remember I really liked. I want to get it. I'm going to navigate there myself.
But
you get nothing.
Here's another way, though. I think if you could, in the video itself, you could say, By the way, I don't know
Please.
why you wouldn't have After Effects, but if you don't, there's a link right here on this video.
Yeah.
You can click it and go to it, and you can send them to your own landing page where
Mm,
you can have them. I mean, again, it's just I'm giving people listening kind of more ideas because
yeah.
that's really the point is when people are, people in marketing, they want to think of ideas and think little things like this trigger an, oh shit, I could do this with
Yeah.
my campaign. They might not want to be talking about After Effects, but just the video aspect of
Yeah.
you got YouTube,
So what I
you can
would
say that and go to a landing page.
so to build on that, you would want to incentivize them further. If you, for example, you're like me and you talk about After Effects all day long, a natural synergy for me was a company called Video Blocks who came around and they said,
Yep.
"Can you send people to our site?" And I said, "Absolutely. If you want to sponsor some content, we can do that." So they basically pay for a channel to talk about their thing. But when it comes down to how am I going to get someone to click on a link, we need to give them a little coupon. We need to give them a little push, give them a nudge to do this thing right now.
Okay.
If you are structuring a campaign around this kind of thing, why would I click on this link right now? Well, it's 10% less. Well, it's 25% less. Well, it's this. You want to leverage and improve your social capital with people. And by that, I mean, if you know what, let's use MeUndies for the example. MeUndies are all over podcasts and stuff, for example. Anytime a podcast says, check out MeUndies, they say use promo code whatever. That'll get you this, and it'll tell MeUndies that we brought you there.
Exactly.
Now, that's good for tracking, but it's also important because it tells the audience, I am a gatekeeper of things you want for better than you can get elsewhere. So in the terms of Rubber Hose, if your affiliate link was a 10% off link as well, you would be saying, I am tight with the producers. Through my clout, I give you this gift.
That's
and
great.
Your audience would say, oh, you golden man have brought me this, a gift for me. So those are the simplistic terms, but the idea is incentivize someone to do the thing you want beyond it being available or beyond asking. Give them incentive to do it. So me talking about After Effects, that's natural. If I'm a vlogger and I'm talking about Pepsi, usually it would be structured around a campaign. Or if I'm Evan Rude Motors and I'm telling people how to repair their Evan Rude motor, and at the end of the video I say, sign up to go speak to a dealer today and get 10% off. Do it today. I'm giving you time and I'm giving you reason. So these are the two things: when, what, and to what benefit. So then that would be pushing someone to the link at the bottom to sign up, to start an appointment somewhere. Why do I want to do that today? I want to do that today because it's 10% off right now coming from this video.
That's really smart.
And yeah, well, I mean, that's your basics of couponing. So it's no different than.
I didn't think about that aspect of the, wow, you are, this, you have that connection that I need, and you can give me, you are my way to get more value and leverage those discounts and other things. I will come back for more stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term juice? When they say Mikey's got juice.
Yeah.
That means. Come on, people say Mikey's got juice all the time.
It's like I think I had 5 people say it to me before I even got coffee today.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you got the hookups. You got
who
things.
the fuck are you people? Stop telling me this every morning.
You're in line at Starbucks. Mikey's got the juice. But that's the idea, is that as a social marketing proposition, as a channel, if anyone comes to me and they say, can you promote my product? I always tell them, well, can I present it? Can I offer my audience something special? And generally people's margins are such that, they can shave a little bit off. They can make it special, and always phrase it in terms of what's good for the client. And in this case, the client wants to increase sales. You say, I want to track those sales. I want you to know that this was good. So let's put a promo code on it. Let's put a special link on it. Let's let's make it special and unique so that you can know that the people come from me to you, and you can link them together. So if this works out,
I think that's a good thing too, because a lot of people, like, the reason I started this podcast, and I mentioned before we started or when we were talking about, they don't know, how do they market with it, or how do they know it's working? That is an aspect to know. And you could take this aspect too. If you're not doing an affiliate link, you still can put something in your videos that leads to one specific space. Granted, you
Mhm.
have to give them a reason to go there, whatever that's going to be for you. But that's how
Yeah.
you can track it and say, oh, the video is actually doing something. I'm getting ROI, as everyone likes to throw around. What's the
Hmm.
ROI on the video? What's the ROI? I'm like, I fucking, do all these things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, generally, if people are creating video-based campaigns, exposure and that kind of thing is much more important, and a much better goal to go after. Video converts fairly well in terms of affiliate programs and stuff like that. But that being said, it is easier to create, or it's more effective to create videos that will generate interest, that will generate understanding, that will have social pass along, that will go places and have real utility for your consumer base. And if people are thinking about creating a video strategy, one video is not a strategy.
Yeah.
Now, for all the clients out there who are listening to Mike's podcast right now, one video is not a strategy. You want a package. You want the big package. And I'll tell you why. Because you want to use these things to form a community, a place where your customers come to interact with you in a real way. And we were talking about passive residual income. YouTube is not the most passive place to be. I'll say that right off the top. I get to enjoy a lot of search traffic. I am very fortunate because I'm very searchable. The things I do have utility and SEO and all that stuff. So that is nice. However, if I'm not putting up new content, I'm not hitting those people, the numbers are not increasing, the things are plateauing, stagnating, and eventually, if you look at a long enough curve, if you stop putting up content, if you stop maintaining the farm, the animals die. So the wheat must be harvested. You must maintain your garden if you want it to do well. Plant some new petunias out there, get some sleigh rides for the kids. You have to. YouTube is about posting. It's about putting things up. I am guilty of the primary sin, which is not putting up stuff every week. They want to see weekly material going up because audience builds on audience, expectation builds on expectation, that if I'm coming here for this, give me more. And if not you, who? And they are elsewhere.
Yeah, man. Your last video was like a month ago.
I got really sick.
50,000 views though, man. That is crazy. But yeah, before that you had 2 months, then you had 2 months, three. Yeah, you could see where you're staying consistent. You're like, fuck this.
Well, I mean, I have clients to keep happy too, right? So if someone needs me for 60 hours a week, I'm not putting a video out. Right. And I mean, that's the reality is I don't have infinite time.
Have you ever thought about taking your channel and kind of tipping the scale where the channel becomes the breadwinner and the clients become less?
That would need quite an inversion of money.
Oh yeah.
To give you an idea of the scale, we're looking at 90% of incomes come from client-based things.
Yeah.
That is quite a tip to make happen, and I'm sure it is possible. The other problem is that I actually really enjoy working with clients.
I mean, that's good. You got to stick with what it goes along with what we're talking about. You have to stick with what you find enjoyable. And that's going to tell you right there. If you get up in the morning, you're like, I don't want to do this, then you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that teaching is great, but YouTube stuff doesn't provide me the rich problem-solving. It's not hunting. As this is going to sound weird, but what is the difference between someone who goes and works at a job and someone who freelances, right? What's the difference? One is a gatherer, the other is a hunter.
100%.
One pursues and solves a unique problem. The other goes to a place and does a thing. They're solving similar problems, unique stuff. They have similar stresses, but there's a stress that's missing, and that is the stress that you will fail and starve. And that is the most thrilling excitement that a career could ever offer you. You will never be more exhilarated when things are going well. You will never be more depressed and want to quit and throw it in and when things are not going well. You ride that roller coaster. Some people get on the roller coaster. Some people want to get off the roller coaster.
Yeah, you truly feel on a daily basis that you're alive because you don't get to be complacent.
That's right. And I don't know, it offers so many interesting challenges just in terms of, I'm meeting new people with new problems, and those problems aren't my problems. That someone is basically, I love puzzles. I love solving things. My favorite video game is Curse of Monkey Island. I love, figuring stuff out. And when someone brings me a problem that I'd never considered before, and I look at it like, man, that is a problem. I can't wait to solve this.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good when we crack this one open. We're going to solve that case. We're going to push our desks together, and we're going to find this thing. And that is an exhilaration for me. YouTube is a kind of exhilaration in that I get to create unique products without editing, without someone editing me, which is fun, which is interesting, but it's not the same challenge. It's not even remotely the same space.
There's no confinement. There's no someone telling you this is the boundaries. When you're making your own video, it's the boundaries are if you need to get a specific viewer to come in, you want a certain amount of views, you should probably talk about a topic. But other than that, you could be like, I could do whatever I want today.
Now, yeah, and that kind of I can do whatever I want thing is a little bit flailing. So if you want targeted and successful things, go back to your data, and not just your own data. If you're in a space where you can go and you can see what the conversation is about, you can be on top of that. If you were vlogging about superheroes, are you talking about Blue Beetle right now? Is Blue Beetle the best superhero to talk about? He's not. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, it's Aquaman. Aquaman is hot right now.
Is Aquaman hot right now?
Yeah, Aquaman is so hot right now. Jason
Momoa.
Yeah, because there's movies, because there's things. The idea of tent poling. I'm not sure if you've talked about this before, but if you have, we're talking about it again because tent poling is important.
This is what I base the entire podcast on: is tent poling.
Okay.
So you're fitting right in.
Good. Guys, tent poling. The idea of finding something that is trending upward, jumping on that wave, and coming up to the top before it crests and you're off the other side.
I think you also have to be in that. I'm a guy who likes authenticity, and that's why I said I initially gravitated towards you, because you had that lighthearted humor in the videos, and you were really good at what you did. I connect to that because you're also speaking in a casual tone like we're having right now. I can tell right off the bat when someone's jumping into something just because they see that it's progressing in that financial way, and I hate that.
You have to make it real. If something, I don't know, there are things happening in the world right now that are getting a lot of search traffic. None of them are personally relevant to me, and I don't think I have a take on them that is totally useful, right?
Yeah.
But there are things that are happening. Drill down a little bit. There are new releases of After Effects that excite me in legitimate ways. There are changes in 3D and virtual reality technology that are exciting me in strange and interesting ways. Feelings I haven't felt in a long time. So these are things that
there you
are
go,
definitely
expressing your body again.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to explore the space. I'm going to put the virtual goggles on and see what happens. That these no matter what category you're playing in, there should be something that is exciting about it and that is happening and that is now and that you can jump on.
Yeah.
So does everyone need to respond to whatever the Kardashians did last weekend? No, they don't.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Not everyone needs to talk about the same thing, because then tent poling and noise go hand in hand as well, right? That, it's so popular because 1,000 people are tweeting about it. 1,000 people are tweeting about it. You're one out of 1,000 people tweeting about it.
Yeah.
You are lost in the clutter of that hashtag. So it's important to have something authentic and useful to say. I keep saying useful because people can be entertained by a lot of things, but people return to what has real use for them.
Yeah.
And I don't mean use in the After Effects sense. People come to my stuff because it's useful to solve a problem, but video is useful in many ways. How is a video of a cat useful to someone, right? If we think about this artifact, this video of a cat batting a soccer ball around, what's the use? Well, the use is that I see it. It brings me joy. I give it to my friend Tiffany, who's having a bad day. I cheer her up. It is a tool for impacting the lives of the people around me and showing other people that I care about them. The cat video has become a use in my language. It is useful for me to communicate ideas to someone else. So that's something to think about. We're moving into a fun new space.
Yeah, and I think I do. We're about an hour and 20 minutes in. This is the longest one I've done because I'm so engaged in it, though. And I love all my previous guests, and it's been very technical with the other guests, and some of them I had just met, and I met them and I love their stuff, and they came on and we talked specifically about video. With this, I'm finding that I'm keeping it going because for me personally, there's an excitement to talking about, the YouTube space, the After Effects, because these are things that I also gravitate to. So what it's telling me as well is I should kind of do an audit on myself and be like, all right, in this podcast, like, what am I getting out of this from a podcast perspective? Like, what things should I really move ahead and talk about? And, am I on the right spot? Because if I'm this engaged at this point, and we are talking about video and things like that, but there is another realm to it that's keeping me here.
Yeah.
And
this is a podcast that's just for two people, you and me.
I think a lot of people
get an intimate conversation.
I think some people get a lot out of this, though, because all along the entire time, though, you are hitting on really good points about video, and there's certain things you're saying, even if you're not saying specifically where to put video. I think it's giving people a lot of really good ideas when they are creating a project. Now, before I do want to wrap this up pretty shortly,
okay,
I do want to ask you a question, though.
Have
you ever thought about taking your videos, and you have a tutorial section on your website? Would you ever think about using Teachable, which is a free platform where you can teach people, and it literally puts them through a course where you take past videos and throw them up there and utilize that as a lead magnet on your website to get more work?
So there have been, I'm trying to think if I've talked to Teachable before. Maybe.
You could charge,
I don't know.
You can actually charge people at that point and say, hey, I have this course about this specifically. Yeah. You can take it.
I'm trying to think, because I've talked to a lot of education platforms. Skillshare and I have done work together. I've done work with some other folks as well. And it's definitely something that my office has a bunch of clipboards on the wall. This is how I organize my life. One of them has a list of teaching platforms on it and the word investigate on a sticky note.
So I'm on to something.
I have pondered it. The best I can say is the literature is probably on the clipboard because it's not enough time, man. Yeah. When I take a vacation, I take a clipboard with me. Oh my God. And I promise I'll get through the ideas written on the clipboard. But it's definitely something I've thought about. I'm of two minds. One is that I like the democratization of knowledge. The other is that I would definitely charge people for something that is essential and something that is something that I think could replace like a year of going to college. I would definitely put that up for people to skip to basically here's all the stuff you need to know. This has high dollar value utility to you because it's the start of a career. Yeah. So that would be something I wouldn't have a problem sort of billing somebody for. But in terms of offloading things from YouTube, YouTube is a great engine. Feed the engine and it will feed you back. And I like people being pushed to and from, and there are many video platforms. There's many places to host and put things. Vimeo is a place to put things. Your own hosting it on your own site is a place to put things. YouTube gives me access to one of the largest communities in the world, and a diverse and growing and international community that they have a lot of tools that I enjoy and stuff like that. So I like leaving the content there and not duplicating the content to put it elsewhere.
Well, no, you can actually, in Teachable, you can take your YouTube your videos and use them and just, it's like embedding. You can embed them.
Okay.
There's a guy called Experiment27 I've been following. He does sales videos. He just repurposed, he just has these random videos about, how to make cold calls, how to make cold emails. And they're all on his YouTube page. He made a free Teachable course. And it's a lead magnet on his site because it keeps people there, or it gives again, it shows he's a thought leader. He's taking the YouTube videos he already has done, and he just lined them up from, course class 1 to 20, and he was like, oh, this shit already exists. Let me just put it here. And he didn't have to make new videos. He was just like, oh, just repurpose this content. So that could be something if it went along with what you wanted to do.
And I would I'd have to create a new series that has proper structure to it, is the other thing. What I've got out there right now is a lot of kind of roughshod. There isn't a path, right?
Yeah. There's no beginning to end of this is what you're going to start
right.
with, this is what you're going to end with. But that's same thing with him, though. There is no path. You should check it out. It's literally just, this is shit I do these are things you can do to sell. And there's really no, first you're going to do this, and next you're going to do this. It's just, here's a video on cold calling. Here's a video on cold emailing.
Interesting.
Here's where LinkedIn comes in. And I went all the way through it because it kept me organized on what videos I should watch from beginning to end.
Beauty. Well, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I sat there for about 2 hours a couple weeks ago and watched them. Or I could have just went on YouTube and went play. The effective aspect was that it just led to the next video that I didn't have to choose watching. He chose it for me. That's what I liked about it. But
yeah, well, YouTube also has tools that can. So if you're talking about flow and leading people from one thing to the next, anyone out there making video and using the YouTube platform, the player has interesting things. Talking about end cards, talking about end something else. Cards is a different thing.
End screens and because they work better on phone, and because you can't do annotations on a phone.
That's right. Phone is the future. Throw your computer in the garbage.
80% is all shit's clear.
100%, 60% of the time, it works all the time. Any other? I guess a lot
like gasoline.
But hey, like you say, we've been here for an hour. Is there any other quandaries while we're?
No, man. I mean, I think I could talk for another 5 hours.
If you want to hang out, we'll just press pause and it'll just be you and me. That's secret stuff.
And I also have to get some shit done. I do have to try to grow my company here. Boo, lame. Actually, Fridays I usually just try to find something fun to animate. But
perfect.
Yeah, man. So, is there anything before we go? I would definitely love to have you on again. I do tell this to all my guests because they all have really good insights and stuff. But I have a feeling we could definitely dive into a specific thing. I mean, I think we kind of did. We jumped a little bit out, but we can narrow it down even more eventually if you're down.
Oh, I'd love to come back. This has been a lot of fun. I love talking at people. It's the best.
Listen to my knowledge and then don't tell.
That's right. Yeah, it makes me feel like a big man.
Is there anything you want to plug that's currently happening that you can speak to? Go ahead.
So things to plug from Evan Abrams. Definitely check out youtube.com/EC Abrams. Find all the EC Abrams things. Head over to evanabrams.com and check out some of the things you can download and enjoy. But the folks at Adobe sent me an email. They tell me it's the 25th anniversary of Adobe Premiere. So they are running a contest right now. I would be remiss in my relationships with them if I didn't mention you should check out Adobe Premiere. They're running a cool contest right now for anyone who is thinking about getting into editing and jumping on that. I think it's Imagine Dragons are putting out raw footage of a music video. Cut that together in an interesting way. Send it there. You'll become famous and wealthy. And if you don't edit stuff, this is the perfect practice to have a dump of raw footage and do that. But anyway, that's a plug for something that's not me, because I don't want to be totally selfish in my plugs. But, look up Evan Abrams, go to the EC Abrams YouTube channel, hit me up on Twitter at EC Abrams. I got that handle on lock. And hopefully if people do that, I'll see you around the internet. We'll learn a lot of things about video together.
All right, that is the show, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you said, yes, Mike, I certainly did, then please message any of your marketing friends and tell them what cool tips you learned that could possibly benefit their lives and make them want to listen to this podcast. Also, check out drive80.com if you are struggling to explain what your company does. We accomplish this in a minute or so with animation. If you have any questions, please send me an email at mike@drive80.com. I'd love to hear some feedback. Tell me what you like. Tell me the things I could fix to really just make these episodes better, really give you guys a lot of value, because, again, that is the point. I really want to be very focused on this. So when you're listening to it, every time you hear it, there's something new, and it really, you could take an action with it right there and grow your business or grow your clients' businesses, which will then help you grow your business because they'll want to pay you more. Again, Mike Doyle, drive80.com. Go in peace.